So in Massachusetts, there are several tips in terms of what you should do to prepare to go to court. When you go to court, one of the things that can annoy a judge significantly is if you're not there on time. And it has nothing to do with the merits of your case, but it's very important to give yourself enough time to find parking, to go through a metal detector to find which courtroom that you need to go to. It seems obvious, but it's one that a lot of people fail to do. And even though a judge might not say that that's a reason why they're finding against you, it's some subtle reasons that the court's looking about how seriously you take court. With that in mind, a second tip is to dress relatively conservatively for court. It's surprising how some people dress. When I first worked in a prosecutor's office, you would see people with marijuana shirts. They would go to court on a separate day being charged with marijuana. And it might not be that extreme, but you still see people that wear t-shirts and shorts and things of that nature, which the courts are not necessarily, again, going to reflect in the merits of the case, but these are subtle prejudices that the courts look at. So you want to take those things away. If you have a suit and a tie or a dress shirt, whatever you would have that where you just show the court respect or show the court formality would be a good thing to do. A third tip is to look at when the judge asks you questions, to be organized and to have your thoughts in control. A fourth tip is to wait for the judge to ask you to speak and not to speak over the judge or over the other litigants. This is very easy for people to do as they're going through many times very emotional matters and going through very difficult times, but to make sure that you're polite and waiting your turn in terms of speaking. You want to stand. Another tip is to stand when the judge enters the courtroom, and you want to stand when the judge leaves the courtroom. Generally, a court officer will say, "All rise," and then will say, "You can be seated." So again, these are minor things to look at, but important as well. Some courts do not allow you to bring phones into the courtroom. Other times they will allow you to bring phones into the courthouse. But it's very important to shut your cell phones or any other electronic devices off. That's one that can very much annoy a judge and can sometimes even have an adverse, again, impact on the merits of your case or how a judge views you. It's important to also make sure that you update your information for the court. So generally the court will ask you for addresses, phone numbers, things of that nature. Sometimes people move. If you end up moving and you don't tell the court, they will generally send the notice to your old address, and you can end up, depending on what type of a case it is, get defaulted or have a judgment against you. And many times the courts will not reconsider it as saying that it's your responsibility to make sure that your phone and address is up to date. So these are fairly common sense steps, but they're important to look at prior to going to a courthouse.